Hello, hopefully I'm online. Check the stream strength, pretty average, probably a fair bit of buffeting. Hopefully you can hear me, guys. Welcome to Wargaming Weekly, the weekly show where we talk all things wargaming. We talk rumours, we talk news, tactics, general banter, and anything else in between. So thank you for joining us. We have got 5 people in the stream at the moment. Bit of an unannounced, as it quite often is at the moment. Been incredibly busy. Just started a new job, and things have been a bit mental. And yeah, cool. Just hello, Timothy. Yes. So as I said, so work's been a bit mental. New job, things have been crazy. So apologies for the real lack of content on the channel. It's been pretty poor. So really bad, and it's bad timing as well, guys, because I'd love to be hitting you up with loads and loads of new 8th edition goodies, bits and pieces, let you know everything that's going on, get some battle reports out there. So much stuff that I want to kind of throw at you, but I've just not been able to do it. So I've had to count on my good friends, and there are loads and loads of good YouTube channels out there that are really packing in that 8th edition content. So hats off to the likes of Winters and the Geeks Wargaming guys. Also Harry from the Dark Artisan, absolutely packing in that 8th edition content. So do check out those guys, and everybody else that comes under the Wargames banner. So yeah, some really cool channels out there dropping loads of 8th edition content, and more of it to come. So it's good stuff. It's an exciting time to be watching YouTube. It's an exciting time to be part of this community. Loads of cool stuff coming on, and I'm just really apologetic that I can't be hitting you with a load of good 8th edition content myself. But it will be coming. It's in the works. There's loads of stuff planned. It's just literally getting the time to do it. I had to cancel a lot of things last minute. I've had to rearrange a lot of plans, and it's extremely frustrating. I'm not going to lie. Both for myself and obviously the rest of the crew over at Twisted Dice. Again, we're kind of just getting a few of the rough edges smoothed, and starting to get some content out for you. And obviously it's coming, so don't worry, it won't be long. And as I said, if you haven't already, do check out Twisted Dice. It's the new channel that I'm a part of, along with a couple of good friends. We're kind of working together, and we've just taken on an additional member of the crew as well, so we're up to 4. So there's going to be loads and loads of cool content, loads of wicked armies, loads of good stuff. We have just released another video, so what I'll try and do is, if I get a chance later, is I'll put a link to that video. Darren on the channel has just released an awesome tutorial on how to paint a Leviathan Dreadnought in the Thousand Suns colours, and obviously Thousand Suns being one of my loves. Really cool tutorial, nice and easy to follow, and it's long enough that you can kind of follow it without it being over too quickly, but short enough so it doesn't kind of take up forever. So it's a really good tutorial, and well done Darren for getting it out. I think he's going to be in the chat actually later. Let's have a little chat. He's actually, I think that's probably him already there as well. So hello Darren, if you're just jumping in. It might be Sean, not too sure. But yeah, so check that out, and as I said, do subscribe to Twisted Dice. It's going to be a real labour of love, but we've got an awful lot of cool stuff in the works for you, and the same over at this channel. Loads of cool stuff coming on. I'm going to do some battle reports, hopefully, for this channel on Sunday. In theory, that's the plan. And what I'll probably do is, because I not really have very much opportunity to do a lot of 8th edition stuff, we'll go back to real basics and go to turn recaps, very low tech, but hopefully give you an opportunity to kind of see some some battle reports and some content as we kind of get used to the new system. Played a little some little test games, some little low points, and just kind of getting an idea on things. But this would be the first opportunity that we'll kind of get some filming done on it, and then not too long down the line we'll get some really glossy, wicked battle reports for you over at Twisted Dice, where you'll be able to see dice for dice rolls, and you'll be able to see all that good stuff. So loads of cool stuff to come, but hopefully you'll get a first taste of some battle reports on this channel dropping next week, fingers crossed, and you get an opportunity to see the Tau. So that's kind of what's going on in my world. We've got quite a busy hobby table at the moment just over here. I don't know actually whether you can see it. The screen's frozen up here. I don't know whether it's frozen up for you guys, but we'll keep going anyway. Hopefully it will come back online. If it doesn't, you've just got to listen to me. So mind, that's probably better for you to be fair. So I've got my Exocrine that I'm working on at the moment for the Tyranid army. Really kind of going to town on him, trying to add a little bit of extra detail, making him really pop, which is cool. And the stream health is horrendous. There's a problem with the video. Yeah, I thought that might be the case. Well, hopefully you can hear me anyway, and we'll just crack on. I don't think that's going to get any better at the moment, so unfortunately you're just going to have to see me. Yeah, so we're going to do a bit of work on that. Try and get the Exocrine done. I've got a last little bits of details to do on my Storm Fiends and a couple more Warp Fire Throwers for a couple of weekends time when I'm going to be playing in the Heat 3 or Age of Sigmar, which I'm looking forward to as well. So quite a busy table at the moment, and I'm looking to do a slow grow Thousand Suns army as well. Chaos Thousand Suns, Darren, don't worry. I've just lost sound too. Wowee, that's not good. Not good at all. Let me know if I'm on my own. Hiya James. You alright, mate? Hopefully the sound hasn't gone for everybody. If it has, let me know whether everyone's struggling to hear. If they are, apologies. I could refresh the stream. As I said, but hopefully it's not too bad. Anyway, as I was saying, so we've got some of that goodness going on in the background, and I look forward to getting the Thousand Suns Chaos army kind of building up into 8th edition army. That's kind of the plan, to add another army to the collection. Just check the stream, see if people will be able to hear me. I am doing some Tau. Cool. My sound's fine. Good stuff. So the sound's still pretty good. That's brilliant. Yeah. So again, welcome to all the latecomers who've just come in now. Welcome to Wargame Weekly. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm trying to check 3 things. Trying to check your chats, guys. Trying to check the stream, and looking at the frustration of the video that seems to have frozen up. But never mind. Yeah, so lots of stuff from a hobby point of view going on, trying to squeeze that in whenever I can, but ultimately the big thing is just trying to get some content back out for you guys, because I really do apologise, it's not good enough. I've really been struggling to just keep up with it at the moment. I have got a video that I filmed yesterday or the day before, which will be a sort of detailed look at Tyranids in 8th edition, kind of unit by unit, the good, the bad, the ugly. Hopefully that'll be interesting to you guys. It was quite a lot of fun to do, and it was good to kind of really look at the units in a bit of detail. So fingers crossed that will come down the line over the weekend or early part of next week at the latest. I just need to kind of do a little bit of editing on that, and that will be up. And then hopefully some basic battle reports that you'll get next week, fingers crossed. And then obviously we've got lots coming up, as I said, on Twisted Dice, so loads of exciting stuff. In other news, so without talking about me, let's talk about other things that are going on. So I wanted to give a big shout out to my good friends at SM Battle Reports. They have just launched a new service on their website. which is called the. I've just got to remember the right wording of it. So I believe it's called the Crypt. Let's have a little look. Get it absolutely right for you guys. Literally all the internet's packed up at the moment. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's called the Data Crypt. And it's a new service they're doing. Basically, they're going to up their content, going to give you even more battle reports. And if you've ever had an opportunity to read the SM battle reports, they are amazing. They're like the old style White Dwarf battle reports. Great pictures, a lot of narrative in there, beautiful armies, great photography, really really good, and makes a nice break. So if you watch a lot of YouTube, like I do, sometimes it's nice just to kind of read a written battle report. It just kind of makes a little bit of break, and there is nobody that does it better than them guys. So they are introducing a service that you can subscribe to. So there's a monthly subscription fee. But what you will get is you'll get access to even more awesome battle reports, and I couldn't really recommend it any higher. The guys are awesome as well, and they really do love the hobby, and I always think it's good to support the the people that are really kind of putting that love and effort in. So yeah, so definitely go and check them out. They're actually running a competition at the moment. So if you jump over to SM Battle Reports, I think you can even win a year subscription to the Data Crypt. So even if you don't subscribe, it'd be great to kind of go over and get involved and enter that prize. Why not? You might even get onto it. Looks like I might be back. I think I'm working again. So you might be able to see me again. But anyway, no, it's still freezing up every 5 minutes, but never mind. So that's that. In other news, what other news have we got at the moment? So do obviously check out Wargames. They've got some running some wicked discounts at the moment. So jump over the links below if you want to get any Wargaming gear. So go over and get it from Martin and the crew over there. They're absolutely fighting with the load of 8th editions that are going out, but they're ready, waiting to take your orders. Jump over and put your order in for some more 8th edition goodies. So that's kind of news. But what I wanted to do today, and I want to keep this pretty interactive. The stream has stopped. Has it really? No, the stream says it's back again. So interesting. You have to let me know whether it has stopped. Tell me if I'm still there, guys. Let me know whether you can still hear me, whether it's dropped out. Tell me. Before I go on, let's just double check that we're still sounding okay at least. You there? Yeah, you're there. Good. Right. Awesome, Craig. Thank you. So what I wanted to talk to today, so if you watched the last stream, that if you didn't get an opportunity, you can jump back. It's online, so you can go and watch it back when I talk quite a lot of detail about Tyranids and how awesome they are. And I can't stress enough how awesome they are and how I cannot wait to be playing them, because they truly have got an amazing boost, and they're looking epic. So many cool units, and I think someone mentioned on there, and it looks like the good stuff hasn't finished because the Malanthrope has an awesome set of rules, and depending on his points will obviously be make or break there, but really really good unit. He's going to be able to give -1 to hit, but the big thing about him is it affects anything, not just infantry, whereas the Venomthropes only affect infantry, so it means that your monstrous creatures can still be shot at the normal to hit rolls. So having it against everything is incredibly powerful. So he's going to be which is great because he's a kind of auto-included my army at the moment, and I love fielding him. So it'd be nice just to carry on with that. He's not a part of the army that I wanted to lose, so it'd be cool to have out. So that's the Malanthrope. But yeah, Tyranids looking awesome. But this show tonight is not about Tyranids. It's about Tau, and obviously you know I have the Tau Empire army, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about them because there's quite a lot of raging going on about Tau at the moment, because they've gone from being the Golden Boys, one of the Golden Boys, to really look like they potentially could be struggling in 8th edition. So I wanted to get your opinion on it. So I don't know whether I'm sure that a lot of people in this chat have had the opportunity to either look at the rules or listen to other people talking about the rules. So I'm sure you've had some sort of visibility or got an idea sort of about what things are looking like. So I just wonder what you're thinking about it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the units. I'm going to go through the units that I think are still very good, and I'm going to go through the units that I think have gotten absolutely paced in, and we'll talk about them as a whole and whether we think they're still going to work or whether think they're just going to be disastrous. What we're going to do with Tau. So before I start talking about them, let's have a little look. Hey, you right, geeks? You right, Rob? How's it going, mate? So we've got one of the Geeks Wargaming guys in there by looks of things. Cool. So yeah, so let's have a little talk about them. So I don't know what people are thinking. There's no messages coming up at the moment. But what I thought we'd do, so when I talked about Tyranids, we started off with the units, and then we kind of got to points and weapons at the end. I thought we'd start off with points and weapons, because that kind of reflects a lot of the units, and one thing that I'm not 100% sold on with 8th edition is the way that you build your units, because unit points are very, very basic and they don't include any weapons, even weapons that you have to take with a unit. That kind of frustrates me a little bit, because it's just a lot of like working out your points, and obviously there'll be apps that will do it for you, but it just seems a little bit backwards, in my opinion. But I just think it's probably an adjustment that we're going to have to do. So let's have a little look at points. So starting off with it, so the points as a unit, they're very, very cheap. So there's no real very, very expensive units. The biggest one that obviously stands out that we'll talk a lot about is the Riptide. So the Riptide has gone up to 209 points, but that's with nothing. So that's with no weapons at all. So that is just, and you can't take him like that obviously, because you need to take a weapon. Let's just have a little read here. So before we carry on, Tower still strong. But you have to play a rather boring list, meaning it's commander, gun drone spam. I think drones and commanders are the best units. Interesting. So that's USC. And then I can't pronounce your name, man. Sorry. From what I'm seeing, is people are upset they can't run Riptide Wing mono build and win every match. Generally, historical overreaction to changing meta. Interesting. Why not mass fire warriors versus drones? Interesting. So yeah, so we'll go back to points, and I'll take all those points and we'll talk a bit about them, because I think the feedback is really, really interesting. So yeah, so the Riptide itself has gone up in points massively. So now you're looking probably the best part of 350 points for a Riptide, which means that yes, as it's already been mentioned, the Riptide Wing is very much a thing of the past. It was anyway, but you're not going to be able to spam Riptides. It's more or less impossible in a normal competitive game. Do I think that's a bad thing? No, I don't at all. I'm the person that's sitting here with 7, 8, 9, 10 Riptides, different variants, but 10 Riptides, and I am not worried that I will never be able to play with all of them on the board again. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, because they were overpowered. They were very just click, just click button and off you went, and they just, they were brutal. So I totally agree that they needed to change massively. So I'm not worried. I'm not frustrated. I'm not upset that the Riptides have got a price increase and that the Riptide Wing has gone, because the Riptides were powerful as they were, and they didn't need the buffs that the Wing gave them. It just made them massively overpowered, and it meant that they were just in too many games. So that's that. But would I say they are now the right price for what they can actually do? I'm not so sure. When you compare them to other units now in the game, they seem a little bit expensive for what they're capable of and the damage output they can do. Don't think it's significant enough with their points, if I'm being brutally honest. So let's have another little look. So as I said, that's them. Ghost kills are 82 points base, but once you put the guns on them, they come at about 160, 170, something like that. They're not a bad price, and I'll talk about them because I think they're probably one of the saving graces in the new Tau index. Let's have a little look at other things. We've got devil fishes that are 101 points. Once you put the weapons on them, they're still not much more expensive. You're probably looking at 110 points, something like that. Commanders come in at 76 points, but you stick them in a cold star suit, which is now incredibly good, and that whacks it up to 90 points. You put the upgrades on them, they're probably going to be closer to 200 points once you put everything on, or at least a good 160, 170 points. So the points we've got, let's have a couple of look at characters. So Shadow Sun, who is epically good now, really good, and I think you'll see her in probably most lists. She's 167 points. That's without anything again, I believe. It will be, so she'll come in over 200 points, I'm guessing, without kind of doing the maths. So that's that. The points wise, if you go for the bigger suits and your more specialized units, it is going to be quite an elite army. Now it was an elite army before, to be fair, but you're definitely not going to get many big suits. I suppose we should talk about the Storm Surgeon. We'll talk about it in more detail when we talk about the unit itself, but that's 180 points. But again, that doesn't even go near to how many points it will cost in the end, because when you're looking at putting a pulse driver cannon, which is 97 points in itself on top, in front of everything else, they're 400 points, I'm gonna guess, roughly. So points wise, yeah, they're not cheap. A lot of the really solid stuff from the last edition. And has it got better? No, it hasn't got better. Has it got worse? Probably has got worse. So that's kind of a little talk about points. Now let's talk about some universal stuff for Tau, because that's quite interesting as well, because some of the big kind of dynamics and the way that Tau worked has changed now quite considerably. Hey, right, Mel, we've got some more people in the chat now. It's filling up nicely. Nice to see. You like the mug? Yeah, you can't be a bit Star Wars mug, eh? We're just talking a bit about 8th edition, and we're focusing on the fish heads today, and going and having a little look at what's good, bad, ugly. Right, so the big thing with Tau is obviously your marker lights. So the marker lights, again, something that has, very much divided the community around how marker lights now work. So for those of you who haven't played 8th edition or have let me get my word right. For those of you who haven't played 40k in 7th edition, or just haven't played Tau and have been hiding under a rock because Tau were in a lot of the main lists, but how marker light used to work, pretty simple really. You put a marker light on somebody, so you try and hit with a marker light. Normally it was a hit on 5 or depending on what was firing it. Got the marker light on, one marker light would be able to increase your ballistic skill by 1 for that unit shooting at that target. If you had 2 marker lights on there, you could remove the cover, and that was obviously pretty important. Cover was a huge factor in 7th edition. It's not quite the same in 8th edition. Things have massively changed. And you also could, I think no one ever used it because it was, but you could turn a Sky Ray Seeker missile into ignores cover, hits on a 2, that type of thing. And they could also make destroyer missiles turn into D missiles. So, but the main thing for them was Tau basically have a. They generally hit on fours. So they hit 50-50%, 50-50 basically. So half the time, a Tau, Fire Warrior, Suit, whatever it might be, will hit half the time. So having those marker lights and the ability to increase your ballistic skill was a crucial part of playing Tau. That was what made that army. That's what you could, and it meant that you could then compete with the shooting of other armies, and in some ways, a lot of cases, go past them. And that's kind of what you expect, because Tau are kind of known for their shooting, for their technical advances. They're that's their thing. So you'd expect them to shoot pretty well, but they had that mechanic in there, which meant that it kind of neutered their ability of their guns, which it kind of needed to a degree, because they needed to give the other armies a chance. Because if they hit on three of everything, a lot of their guns were devastating, and you'd shoot people off the table. So making it so you only hit 50% of the time, and having to play that marker like game, meant them, it kind of balanced them a little bit more. Now, okay, at the end, certain things made that a little bit ridiculous, and it got a bit crazy, and the ignores cover against certain armies in 7th edition was so broken it was unreal. So don't get me wrong, I don't disagree that it got stupid and it was overpowered, but it was also a god save for your average Tau army needed those marker lights. So now marker lights have changed dramatically. So marker lights work if you have one marker light on something, you can re-roll 1 to hit shooting at that unit. So that's not bad for one, and that's okay. 2, if you have 2 marker lights on it, a destroyer and a seeker missile fired at the unit can use the firer's model's ballistic skill. So basically, seeker missiles, destroyer missiles, you always just they can only hit on 6s, but obviously if you put 2 marker lights on them, suddenly they'll hit at the weapon at the normal ballistic skill, which again we're saying is only a 4, so it's not incredible in most cases. There are some things that hit on 3s, but majority of things hit on 4s. You have 3. The Tau models attacking that unit do not suffer from penalties for moving and firing their heavy weapons, or advancing and firing their assault weapons. It's okay, but generally you're not going to be coming flying forward most of the time being a Tau player. So 3 marker lights just so you can basically run and shoot with no minus is pretty meh. 4, the target unit does not gain any bonuses for saving throws from being in cover. That's nothing, because cover is basically always just a +1 to your save. So having to expend 4 marker lights just to take 1 off their save is rubbish. It's awful. And then 5, so for 5 marker lights, you can add 1 to basically to your hit roll. So 5 marker lights does the same job as 1 marker light used to. It's not quite, because obviously it's every unit shooting at it, but it's only 1 target. Hey, got Dark Artisan in there, we've got Ali in there. Right, Harry, Ali, I was bigging up your massive amount of 8th edition content, Harry, earlier. As I said at the beginning, if people didn't miss it, tons of cool 8th edition content where I'm letting the side down and not getting it to you fresh and hot off the press. You can definitely get all your 8th edition goodies and cool battle reports and fun from Harry at Dark Artisan. So definitely, if you want to get your hit of 8th edition, I can't recommend it higher as a place to go and see loads of cool stuff. So definitely jump over there and see. And he's even got a Tyranid battle report, so he's okay in my books. So definitely catch up with Dark Artisan. So anyway, as we were saying, and I've lost my train of thought a little bit. So we were talking about marker lights and kind of what they do now. So some would say that that's fine and that's not terrible. And I don't think it is terrible. But the reality is you're talking about an army that generally only hits half of the time. And now you're saying that's not going to change massively, because your buffs that you're giving are not increasing that chance that much. So marker lights, even though they're still important, have to have so many to be able to be effective, and actually they're not cheap enough to have that many that they're going to be that effective. I'm struggling with how marker lights really work in the new edition. Whether actually maybe the more tactical approach is that we kind of forget about marker lights and we play it in a different way. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure that the dependence on marker lights is the way to play. So that's that. Let's have a quick look at any other abilities they've got. So they have again got the supporting fire, which is now called for the greater good, which is basically units get to overwatch that are within 6 inches of the unit that's been charged. It's okay. It encourages Tau to all stick together, which doesn't really work in playing the missions, if I'm honest. And yeah, so that I don't think is that wonderful, if I'm being brutally honest. And that's basically their army round rules, so not that special. So let's talk about the units. And people have already mentioned that commander's a good unit, and drones are good units. Well, let's have a look at them. So the commander, he's okay. You know, he's one of those rare ones that does actually, he hits on 2s. He's now got a strength 5 toughness, and he's got 6 wounds. He has a 3-up save, so he's not too sad. You can give him all the weapons, and the weapon of choice for me, with pretty much as you can get, is fusion. Fusion is incredible. Fusion is an awesome weapon, and I would get it on as many of your units as you possibly can. Yes, it's not massive horde killers, but you know, you're gonna have gun drones, you're gonna have burst cannons on certain things as well. Try and take a lot of the little guys down, but fusion is what will potentially save Tau, because it has a much longer range than a lot of the other real high strength weapons on a lot of cases. Not always, but it has that effect. Having that slightly longer range does mean that you're more likely to be able to get those nasty hits on. It's obviously melter, but it's melter, as I said, at a better range. So fusion's awesome because it's like -3 and it's d6 damage, which is incredibly powerful. So I would definitely be looking at fusion. I'd be looking at commanders with fusion, and I'd be looking at them dropping down, because they can do this manta strike, which is basically they can drop down and they can be within 9 inches of the enemy. Now, yeah, the chances are they're going to be in a bit of trouble when you're going to have to play it smart, because what you're going to have to do is you're going to have multiple things dropping down. You're going to make sure that commander is not the closest thing to them, so he's got either his bodyguards or he's got another unit of suits around him to make sure that they take a bit of the heat. But there's still a good chance you can drop him down. He's going to be in melter range. He's going to be able to do a lot of damage. And if you've got suits with those fusions as well, I think what you can do is you can get a very good alpha striking, high impact Tau army. But I think it still could be hit and miss, because you're probably going to struggle to get all those buffs, because you're not going to be ignoring everything. You're not going to be hitting on 2s with everything. You're going to be, it's a lot more, you're going to have to take that risk, but ultimately it's 50-50. So if you roll those 4s, you're gonna do some serious damage. So I think they'll still be effective as that kind of alpha strike, dropping in, precision hit, very, very nasty, very, very effective, and the commander will sit really nicely in that kind of factor. I really like him in the Cold Star battlesuit, because that 20-inch move I think is incredible. It means that again, you can, if you want to, rather than do the drop him in, you can kind of use the Cold Star battlesuit to kind of get him flying straight across the board, shoot something, kill something really, really quickly. Then he just has that dilemma of being then killed in the next turn, I suppose, and that's the problem. Tau still can't fight in combat, and combat has got so much more prevalent in the new edition. Just having a check in the chats. Home and Beacon can allow half range fusion turn one. Yeah, exactly. So there are some tricks, and I think that's where your magic is. So we'll talk about it more at the end, but I think you're gonna see Tau as a real kind of bomb, all or nothing. They need to absolutely take the head off the dragon first turn, with their really nasty, powerful weapons, because I don't get the impression they can take a punch, and I don't get the impression they can really kind of stand up to counterfire. So they're going to need to hit incredibly hard, and they've got the tools to do that. So all is not lost. But that's the commander. Commander Farsight now is pretty average, because he's true to fluff. He's quite good in combat. He hits on 2s, which is good, and obviously he's strength 5. His Dawnblade is D3 damage. He does have 4 attacks, and it is -4. They won't get a save from it. So the Dawnblade's pretty good. It's quite hard, but he still only has a 3-up save. He has a 4-up invuln, but I just don't really see him, because there's going to be no other support in combat. So what's the point in Farsight on his own, just going in there like swinging with his Dawnblade? It might be fluffy, but reality is most armies are going to be able to easily counterpunch that with a more combat orientated unit. So I don't see him coming into effect that much. Shadow Sun, however, is epically good. So the reason why she's so damn good is because she has 2 fusion blasters for a start. She has the shield drone. She has the stealth suit, which means that she's -2 to hit her, which is crazy good. I think it's -2. Let's double check. Sure, I've seen that. No, 1. Sorry, I'll take that back. So -1 to hit her, which is very, very good, because obviously combine that with the fact that obviously she's a character, so she can't be shot first. Yeah, she's just really good. She's got a lot of toys. She can obviously do her once per game canyon ability, where basically you can re-roll within 6 inches of her, which is cool. And yeah, she's just generally a very, very good unit. She's not cheap, but she'll do a lot of damage, and she fits very nicely into that build. She can infiltrate as well, so well, she can't do the Manta Strike, but she can infiltrate, so she can get where she needs to just from doing that. That's good. The other thing with all these guys, all these suits, is they do have the fly special rule. So the problem I've got is that these guys will probably die when they get in combat. But what they have got the advantage of is if they can survive a round of combat, which I would say is quite unlikely a lot of the time, they can then jump out of combat and then shoot something. So Tau aren't dead at all, and I suppose I'm jumping the gun a little bit because we'll get to the end of the review. But they've got a lot of tricks, but you're going to have to play them in an extremely different way. And I think they will still be quite one-dimensional, because I think they're going to be a Alpha Strike army. Kill what you can, then hope there's nothing to punish you, because I just don't think they can take the counter. The other guys, so you've basically got you've got Dark Strider, you've got the other little ethereal characters. We're going to skip over them pretty much. They can give their buffs out, which are not too bad. They're similar to what they were before. They've got slightly better. They're buffs for fire warriors and what have you, but they're more or less the same. These guys they fit very well in a static, non-moving Tau gunline army, which is just no longer a thing. The way that missions work is you need to be able to move around. You can't be static on one objective. So I suppose you could have a home base of fire warriors and stuff not moving, and then you could have a Alpha striking part of your army. But the reality is, Tau aren't cheap enough really to be able to do that. You really need to put your eggs all in one basket to make sure that that Alpha strike is really, really violently powerful. If you try and balance it between a base and an alpha strike. You'll probably struggle to be able to get the strength that you need from that alpha strike, and then that's half of your army dead. I'm not sure whether that works. So we're going to strike team now. The strike team hasn't really changed, exactly the same, pretty much solid. The pulse rifles are good, same as they were good before. But a fire warrior is a fire warrior. Ultimately, he's only hitting on 4s, so he's only hitting half the time. Breach team. I quite like the breach team now. I didn't like them before, but their gun at close range, and I mean, you need to be seriously close. You need to be really on them, but you've got much more of an ability to do that now with the devilfishes being more resilient, and them having a strength 6 -2 rend for a relatively cheap unit, I think is quite powerful. So I think that these guys in devilfishes will work quite well, but still probably not your most optimal build. So that's the breaches. Let's have a quick little check. What's going on in the chat? Gun drones. I like to take damage. Broadsides. We get to broadsides in a minute. I always feared Croot Hounds in 5th. Commander, 3 missile pods, an advanced targeting system. Expect to see a lot of them. Yeah. Add Flamer though. Overwatch. The Flamers are pretty good, but it's just the range, and I don't know whether correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's a way of getting them within 9 inches, and the Flamers are 8 inches. So if you could get them within 8 inches, double Flamer on suits would be really good, because Flamers are so good in this edition. I don't think you can get them that close, but I might be wrong. I might be missing something. Would they count as moving if they are on the tide wall? Probably not. But the tide wall's expensive for what it can really do, and again, I don't think it really works that well. I don't know. Again, I just think a massive, great big terrain piece of terrain as that as well doesn't really work in a competitive scene. It doesn't work for you moving around on objectives. It's a fun bit of kit, but I don't see it really working. Let's go on to the Croot. Croot really haven't got that great. So they can do infiltrates. They've got a rule called Stealthy Hunters, so they can start the battle round. What do they say? At the start of the first battle round, but before the turn begins, you can move this unit up to 7 inches. It can't end, so they don't have infiltrate anymore. Basically, you can do a scout move with them. It's okay. It's not wonderful. The Crutox Riders, the Croot Gun is not bad. Strength 7 -1, D3 damage. It's okay. But they've only got 6 up save. They're going to die pretty quick. Croot Hounds, gives you a little buff. You can reroll the charge range, but they're not spectacular. What am I getting at? Basically, all in all, Croot are okay. They haven't got any better. I still think we're a million miles away from a position where we could run a Croot army, put it that way. So let's go on to some more suits. So stealth battle suits. Now these guys I think are really good. So I think these are one of the strongest bits. So the stealth battle suits, they can infiltrate. They get the -1 when they're shooting. They get access to fusion guns. I think they're really solid. Burst cannons are not too bad. I think stealth suits are going to be really good. I think you're going to see lots of stealth suits. They're really quite difficult to deal with now. I think they're a really good unit, really solid. We've got Will in here. Yeah. So hello, Will. Good to have you join us, especially seeing you are a passionate Tau player. I know why. Yeah, I know that you will not be happy, and I think you don't like me. Obviously, Will's probably more of a dedicated Tau player than me. A very good Tau player in 7th edition, so I know he's gonna be frustrated, as I am frustrated with a lot of things, and a lot of other diehard Tau players are. But I think there is light at the end of the tunnel. We just need to really seriously adjust and work out a different way of playing. And I think it's going to be tough. I don't think you're going to have easy games with Tau, which is a shame because I do think they have really got the tough end of the stick. But we're working around ways that we can play them. So I think stealth suits are a really good shout. I think they're a very, very effective unit. They are not hugely expensive. They are price efficient for what they can do. And as I said, it's a way of potentially getting lots of fusion guns, because the fusion gun is what you need. Tons of fusion guns, and then you've got your burst cannons to deal with your swarm element. So you can have a little unit of them, 2 burst cannons, all shooting at different targets. Your fusion gun then shoots at the thing it needs to kill. Now, obviously, you're going to have that problem again. Only hitting on 4s is not wonderful. So it's going to miss just as often as it hits. And with marker light support not being anywhere near as good as it was, it's going to be a tough one. But I still think stealth suits are a dangerous thing for the opponent. They're still something they're going to have to deal with. Having a -1 to hit means they're not going to deal with them easily. So I think definitely stealth suits really, really good. Crisis suits are good. They are still good, and obviously you can kit them in loads of different ways. Having the toughness 5, strength 5 is nice. 3 wounds is nice. I think, as I said, the way to play them is as many of these guys, and obviously you can only deploy half of your army in this deep strike mode. It's not called deep strike anymore, but in this case it's manta strike. But I think as many crisis suits, high impact units that you can get very, very close up for that alpha strike, that you can then drop in, cause as much damage, try and take the head off the snake. That's what it's all about. So lots of units of crisis suits, I think, is a key to making that work. The bodyguards are decent, you know. Obviously it's going to save your commanders, but I think if you're smart, you probably don't need to play bodyguards. You know, yes, they might have stuff, you know, like scouts, like rangers, but you're going to have the ability to deal with them pretty reliably, because you can deploy your guys where you need to take them out first. So I wouldn't worry about that. Bodyguards I don't think are going to be necessarily that essential part. So now we go on to what I think is the best unit now for Tau. I think the Ghost Kill. The Ghost Kill I think is epically good, personally. I really, really like the Ghost Kill. Everyone's chatting loads in here. Let's have a quick look. An online debate. Ace rules for stealth suits say if a ghost kill is near a drone, it gains -1 to hit, but it doesn't say drone unit. So if ghost kills are near 2 drones, does it gain -2 to hit? So it's going to be FAQ'd, Will. So basically, unless something says that it can be stacked, it won't be able to be stacked. So in every single case in 8th edition, and I've spoke to the playtesters that are in contact with Games Workshop, and I even spoke to the guy that is writing the FAQ. So basically, it's one of the things that they've kind of messed up a little bit with 8th edition. A lot of it's quite ambiguous with whether things can stack. They cannot stack, so nothing can stack in 8th edition. They try to do that on purpose. So basically, a bonus is a bonus unless it states that it can be stacked. It can't. So you're not going to be able to get multiple increases to that. It's not going to happen. It's the same with the Dark Angel one with their Dark Shrouds. There's quite a few little ambiguous rules in there that people will try and abuse at the moment, and I get it. But the reality is it's not the way that 8th edition is designed. It's not designed to have multiple stuff making things more and more ridiculous. There's less. It's trying to take out those combos that break the game. Now I know that wouldn't break the game, don't get me wrong, but it's purposely there for that. So, you know, I don't know in that precise situation, but I think you'll find that gets FAQ pretty quickly. Yeah, sad face, sorry matey. But I think the ghost kill is very, very good. I think points wise he's right. The fusion collider I think is immensely good. I think it's such a cool gun. D3 shots is awesome with that that really powerful fusion weapon. I think multiple ghost kills with that is really good. They're hard to deal with, they're hard to hit, they're hard to kill, they've got lots of wounds, good toughness. I think I think ghost kills are now your new riptides, in my opinion. I think ghost kills are where you want to be at. I think I can see a ghost kill stealth suit army. So basically, and so the way that I'm thinking about my build at the moment, and again I'm jumping a gun, but I'm excited to kind of get it out there. So my towel list that I'm working on in my head, and that's all it is. I haven't bought anything, I haven't planned anything. They're a little bit on the back burner because I'm concentrating on getting these Tyranids down in 8th edition. But what I'm kind of working with is basically you're going to have a real hard hitting, deep striking crisis bomb, basically, with as much nasty fusion in there as possible. That's going to do a lot of damage. But then also part of that alpha strike is you're going to have infiltrating, ghost kills, and stealth suits and shadow sun. They're all going to be in range first turn. That's what you're going with. Now, obviously, the chances are every now and again you're going to get slapped in the face when they get first turn, and you need to kind of make it so when I put it together, it needs to be as few units as possible to try and guarantee that first turn. I mean, in tournaments, we're doing it for the Northwest Open. We're going to try and make that a bit more random because I think that auto go first on things like Knights is a bit too wonky. It's a bit too powerful. But so we'll try and make it a bit more elite. But basically, that's the list that I'm kind of working on. And I'm sure that, you know, the likes of Will and some other really good Tau players will be able to come up with a list of that kind of that structure pretty quickly. But that's the way I see Tau working. I see a really powerful alpha striking army. So as a ghost kill, I think he's a really, really solid unit. Pathfinders, as I said, it's a way of getting Markalites, but I'm not sure that Markalites are really a thing anymore because to make it effective, you just need so many of them. So that's Pathfinders. Piranhas, I was looking at Piranhas and I was trying to work out whether I think they're effective or not. I'm not sure. The jury's out. I was hoping they'd have something like hard to hit. They don't have a hard to hit on them. So, yeah, probably not. Which is a shame because, again, I think like a Piranha army would be quite cool. But that's not going to happen, I don't think. Devilfishes are very good. Devilfishes have got an awful lot better. And I think with Breaches in, you've got something that can be an effective unit. But for me, it wouldn't be up there. Unfortunately, the Razor Shark Fighter and the Shark Bomber still not very great. Still not awesome. Drones we've talked about a little bit. So gun drones are obviously going to be a good way of getting lots of fire. Vespids. I actually quite like Vespids now. I think they're okay. So I'd be interested in what other people think, but yeah, I think Vespids could be quite cool. We'll talk about the Wyvara in a minute. I'm coming to that. I'm saving the best to last. So I think Vespids are alright actually. I'm just trying to work out whether I think they're value for points. They come to, I'm trying to think, they're just shy of 100 points for 5, which is probably a bit expensive, but their guns are not too bad. Assault 2, Strength 5, minus 2 AP. They ain't bad. That's quite a good gun. And obviously they can jump down again. They can be part of that alpha strike. I think there's something around maybe Vespids could be okay. Probably just slightly a bit too expensive. Then you've got your sniper drones. Sniper drones are decent, but their weapons themselves are probably not dangerous enough to really do that damage to that character that you want, which is the thing, which is a bit of a stinker. So it's all very well having this ability to snipe stuff, but if what you're using to snipe isn't that effective, you're going to maybe struggle a little bit. Sky Rays are okay, not too bad. Again, you just need so many Markalites to make those missiles really that great. So that's that. I think the Hammerhead and Long Strike got slightly better because that railgun I think is decent. I think the submunitions is a bit poor though. I'd like that to be slightly better. But the solid shot is definitely vicious, and on Long Strike it should do a lot of damage. So I think Long Strike is something, he's not cheap, but he's probably worth chucking in there. Because there's no like shaken or anything like that, it's going to take a while to knock him down. he has to lose a lot of wounds before he's not hitting you most of the time. So I think long strike's a good one to take. I would look at taking him, particularly if you're playing a static style list. Broadsides, I think someone already mentioned about broadsides. They're not too bad. I think the heavy railgun has taken a bit of a buff. It's got slightly better, I believe. Obviously, it's not twin link, doesn't exist anymore. But you've got those 2 shots, strength 8, -4 AP, D6 damage, which I quite like. I do quite like that. So I think they're better. The high yield missiles are pretty good as well. You know, so I think broadsides are decent. But the only thing is there are an awful lot of ways to get you close to those broadsides pretty damn quick, which will be their downfall ultimately because they'll get annihilated in combat. But, you know, they've got 6 wounds each. You know, that's decent. 2 up save. I think broadsides you'll still see on the board. I think they're a good solid unit. And then we have the Storm Surge. Now, the Storm Surge, in my opinion, got quite a lot worse. And the main reason why he got quite a lot worse is he was the answer to combat. So yes, Stomp was a horrible rule. It wasn't a good rule, but actually what it did give is it gave Tau an opportunity to actually put a big unit in the middle of the board and actually give themselves some assault advantage. We don't have that anymore. He can't hit for shit in combat now. The only advantage is he can walk out of combat and not have any penalties. I believe. Yes, he can. So, but he's good. He's still good. He's one of the best units still, and points wise, he stayed roughly the same. So I think we definitely see a lot of Storm Surges. He's still a real stable choice, and his guns are brutal still. Lots of shooting there. So I do really like the Storm Surge. But losing that Stomp has meant that he's extremely one-dimensional. So that's kind of the Storm Surge. I'm not even going to talk about the Tide Wall. I've not really looked at it. It doesn't interest me. Apologies if it interests you. I'm not really that interested in having a big bit of terrain that much. It looks cool, and I'd use it for fluffy games. I love it. It's a beautiful piece, but I just don't think I'd take it to tournaments. To be honest with you, it would just be. I just love it in my collection, but I wouldn't really play it as a tournament play. But there you go, that's just me. But it's I think it has its advantages still. It'd still be good, but I've not really given it much thought, as I said, because I don't know, just from a practicality point of view, I've never wanted to actually bring a bit of terrain like that to a tournament. And I don't never really like playing that massively amount static, but I do love the model. The model is beautiful, and I'd love to have it just for the collection. So that is Tau. So what do we think about Tau? So overall, you've heard that, you've obviously had an opportunity to make your own opinions. Before we take some opinions on it, I will just briefly talk about the Wyvara. So the Wyvara could be the saving grace, it could be the saviour of the Tau Empire, and you never know, so could the Arvana as well. The Arvana might be able to bring us back as well. But the Wyvara itself, so the stats that they've released from Forge World, now we don't know the points, and that will potentially cripple everything if it costs 600 points or 500 points or even 400 points, but the stats it's got are amazing, really incredible, very solid unit. Going to be very powerful. I think you will see it in most Tau lists as long as it's affordable points wise. So that's cool. Hopefully the Arvana gets similar sort of love and they both get pointed a little bit more correctly. I don't believe that the Riptide is that well pointed. We didn't even talk about the Riptide, to be fair, because we talked about it a bit in the initial talk. But yeah, so basically the Riptide just got too expensive. Its abilities very similar, but it's just too expensive really for what the damage it does. It's a good unit, but it shouldn't be that much. It shouldn't be as cheap. It just needs to be somewhere in between where it was, to be honest. So that's is where I am with the Riptide. So what do we think about the about Tau? Do we think they're a big miss? Do we think they're playable? Is there another way that I've missed, or do we think Alpha Strike is the way to play them? What we're saying? Tidewall, Gunrig have a hidden ability. They count as a unit you must kill before you can kill a character. So a unit on the Gunrig can't be targeted till you kill the rig. That's cool. That's cool. I do like that. So 70 points for the wall. What do you think? Tau, hit and miss. Hit and miss. Are they gonna be like the new orcs or the new Tyranids? Are they gonna be like totally unplayable? What's the deal with them? What are we gonna see? I think Tau will still be good. Okay, cool. Crisis Bomb is the way. Yeah, I'm with you, Ali. That's absolutely. I think that's the way you got to play it. For me, broadsides. Yeah, I think broadsides have still got a place, 100%. Anything else? Gone a little bit quiet in the chat. Yeah, so I suppose that's my opinion. So do I think they're dead? No, I don't think they're dead. They are going to be a lot more of a thinker's army. You're going to have to play them a little bit smarter. They still have a massive amount of strength, but I think they will have a tough time. I think if you're not a smart player, struggle with them, 100%. And even if you're a smart player, when you come across a really powerful, well-rounded army that can assault you and shoot you, I think you'll still have a tough time. Is that fair? Probably not, but that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. I think potentially a tweak in points might well bring them back in line, and that hopefully will be not too far down the line. Let's see, chat. What are we saying here? You don't want to use the gun rig about the one you pimped. So as I said, Will, I absolutely love the model. It's cool, and I'd use it for fluffy, fun games. I just don't think I'd bring it to a tournament game. So I'm excited to see your pimped rig. Broadsides surrounded with gun drones to take high damage with the advanced target and high yield. Although 630 points for free, but that's 48 shots. Yeah, it's a lot of points though. It's a lot of points for something that could get assaulted relatively quickly. How can be used well? There's a lot of tactics I've thought up. My God, you really need to think. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. So I think you'll get a lot more reward from playing Tau than you did recently. I think they're gonna be an army that you're gonna have to just play smart, which is not a bad thing. My guess is still drone commander spam, but just my guess. This is the best part of about Ape. The whole meta is open. We know absolutely nothing. 100%. 100%. What else we got here? Like they might fall into a mono build again. Same with Tyranids in 8th, but they won't be as broken as they were in 7th. As Tyranids in 7th. Yeah, maybe. Ghost Hill stealth suits, modifier after rails. Yeah, I agree. I think the Ghost Hills and stealths are going to be awesome. Also, my comment may be too far up for you to see, Ace, but you have seen the intercept boost for Tau. No, I haven't. Look, go up. Yes. So absolutely, I didn't talk about that, and that is a very good point. So the interceptor is still there. You can't obviously intercept anywhere in the board now. You can only intercept within a certain range. I can't remember. I think it's 12 or whatever. So you can basically, so if anything's in range to assault you, you can intercept it, which is good. And I think you're going to want to take that on majority of your units, particularly any of your units that are defensive, that are not coming down. And obviously, like Will said, so you can shoot them, and that doesn't stop you then shooting them in the next round. So that's really, really cool. So Interceptor definitely got better in that regard. The disadvantage of it is you can't shoot them wherever. So what it becomes is Interceptor becomes an anti-assault mechanism. So it's not going to stop units dropping in and shooting you to pieces, but it will stop units dropping in and assaulting you. So from that point of view, it's a better dynamic because the intercept before was too powerful. Now it's about right, but I still think it's a must-have, and it's something that most armies don't have. So you still want to have that on majority of your units, and it's definitely a very, very good, solid trick. What else we got here? In a nutshell, if you roll die. Yeah, so we're just talking about the modifiers bit. The modifiers rule is a bit wonky, so very difficult to explain. It does actually say in the rule book, and it's if you read it in the rule book, it's actually pretty straightforward. But basically, any modifiers you kind of lose if you have a negative. So if there's something that decreases your ability, then the modifiers don't stack onto that. If that probably makes no sense at all. Once you get playing the game and you read the rules, you understand it, but it's a bit of a wonky mechanic. Someone was telling me there's some really, really good reasons for it, but I'm still struggling with it myself a little bit. But it's a slight different mechanic with that. But yeah. So before I go, I'm going to take any last questions because it's been a long show and it's incredibly hot in this room at the moment. I'm sweating my cods off and I've got work early in the morning. So I'm going to call it a day pretty soon. But before I go, if there's any questions, your time to ask any questions on Tower or anything else. If you want to ask about anything else, 8th edition or whatever, I will answer it now for you. Hey, you're right, Sean. About the Wyvara, comparing it to other units, around 20 power, it's upwards 350 points, maybe 400. Yeah, you could be right. Ace, can Tau ever win a tournament again? Yes, absolutely. But we're just going to have to evolve and adapt and work out how we be most efficient with those units, and be extremely smart. So yeah, you're going to have to be a different player. You have to, in some ways, you're playing to that fluff, that real kind of like Japanese kind of martial arty kind of, like expert of combat warfare and all that kind of jazz. So in that way, you're going to have to play a little bit like in the fluff, but 100% we can win tournaments. Not over yet. Dedicated transports can be shared on deployment. Yep, absolutely. Have you done a Tyranid review for 8th? Yes. So yes, there's a brief one in the last Wargaming Weekly, but I've got a in-depth Tyranid review that I will release in the next 4 days at the most, maybe before then, which I'll go over every single unit. It's about an hour video. I go over every unit, so hopefully that'll be helpful for you. So watch out for that. That'll be the next advice from the Hive Mind video. What do you think the Supremacy suit will do? I think it will be serious amount of points for start. It's so stupidly pointed at the moment, or it was. No idea, because we don't really know what Titans are going to do full stop, I suppose, is the ultimate thing. How they're going to find themselves. Closest we've had is the Brass Scorpion, and that is relatively small points in comparison to some of the big guys in the last edition. So we'll have to see. I have no idea what the Supremacy suit do. I think it's a pretty difficult one to guess at the moment. I reckon Scions, Adari, Imperial, Soup. What, they're going to be the best? I think so. I don't think so. Cool. Right. On that note, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us this evening. With fingers crossed, we'll be back same time next week. If we're not, I will I always let you know if it's not going to happen. I put it on the Facebook page, so keep an eye on that. But if you don't hear from me, I'll be back again next Thursday. If not, keep an eye on the Facebook, and I'll let you know when it's coming or if it's